Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back in another video. Hope everyone's well wherever you are. And in the thumbnail, I used the mug from the tea I last drank in part one, and it's a mug my sister got me a while back. I've drank it from it before in videos, and I probably went through talked about it. But it says this time next year we'll be millionaires, but rather disappointingly. The mug has kind of faded, so you can't really see it. But it's from something called Only Fools and Horses. But I don't know if it's because it's been washed so many times, or I've used it too many times, or whatever. For whatever reason, excuse me, you can't see it properly. Even though I only use it on Mondays, because I think I give my silly use of patterns like Millionaire Mondays. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. But I meant to say the story behind it in part one, but I forgot. But yeah, my sister got it, and it's from a British sitcom called Only Fools and Horses, which is no longer running. But I suppose that's probably the British equivalent of like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or whatever. Kind of similar, I think. Only thing is, he's from like a poor background, but he always dreams about being rich. And he says, "This time next year we'll be millionaires." So I have that one and the Monopoly mug as well. So I think they're quite fitting for Mondays as well, because I think like Millionaire Mondays, Monopoly Mondays, and that kind of thing. Anyway, these are pointers. Like I said, this is your boy MKS back in another video. Welcome to part 2 of NeuroDIVERSE Mondays, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, these are pointers number 11 to 20 as per usual. So hope you enjoy listening to it. Baffle. But yeah, as ever, please let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you won't be too harsh. But please post whatever you like and whatever in the comments, including questions, suggestions, or whatever you want to post in the comments. Preferably on topic and preferably politely, but again, you can post what you want. Yeah, these are pointers number 11 to 20. I'll say so. Here goes. I think I might say in the intro. So here goes. So number 11. These videos, I suppose, are about trying to empower and support neurodiverse people like myself and others. Of course, anyone with neurodiverse conditions, let's say, which I hope to focus on in November. As I said before in previous videos, I hope to focus on like supporting neurodiverse people all over the world, neurodivergent, or whatever you want to call us, Native Americans and the Black community. So, a strange way of sort of representing them for the anyway, or people using that sort of thing, and for like slavery and things that went through, obviously, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I hope to change perceptions, and I'd love to raise the awareness of neurodivergent inventors, ideas people, entrepreneurs, MDs, managing directors, CEOs, chief executive officers, business owners, investors as well as inventors, and success stories to sort of inspire and motivate people, and also change the perception of neurodiversity. So yeah, hopefully making those changes, and I'd love to do that worldwide. So I hope to celebrate historical inventors, investors, CEOs, MDs, entrepreneurs, business owners, or whatever, all that kind of thing. I suppose they're the same sort of thing. And people in different fields like banking, business, music, movies, or whatever. I think things like them. So yeah, celebrate historical ones and things that we've contributed to the world between us, and also to inspire future generations of people with neurodiverse conditions. So hopefully making things better for neurodiverse people, whether that's in Britain, Europe, US, Asia, Africa, Australasia, all over the world. I'd love to interview and possibly be interviewed by neurodiverse people. Maybe we could interview each other, and including those from different racial or ethnic backgrounds, different diverse backgrounds, just to get a mix of experiences. So people from Asian backgrounds talking about like where you have to be an ASOS student, tiger mums and all that kind of thing, or whatever, and how Asians treat people with neurodiverse conditions, and like what Asians know about neurodiversity, and trying to raise awareness in Asian communities, families and whatnot, as well as like the black community and different communities, so white, black, Asian, mixed race, and different groups, to sort of see how much awareness there is within different groups, and whether some groups have more awareness than others. But I'd also love to see what we could contribute, which I hope to talk more about throughout this month, to those other groups I talk about, like Native Americans, the black community, and people in developing nations, to see what we could do to support them. And before I move on to point 12, I'll say on that note, I mentioned before like how many success stories and motivational stories and whatnot, famous people, for instance, or whatever, are white and male. So I think it'd be good to have a more diverse background, which someone whose name I forget, Keisha Adair, I think her name is, something like that. And she said, sorry, my voice went even more feminine than usual then. But she mentioned how I was watching the football and my voice is so feminine. But she mentioned how she wrote a book about how it would be good to have more diverse role models. So people who are neurodiverse, but rather than just like Richard Branson, Jamie Oliver, and people like that, also having people like Damon John and more people who are black, Asian, or whatever. It's called Black Brilliant and Dyslexic or something like that, the book, which is one of the few books I've ever read in my life. I think I've only read about 5 to 10 books probably in my whole life. I don't, maybe when I was younger, I used to read with my parents or whatever, but yeah, I've never really been hugely into reading, but I do love writing. It's strange. I'm going to move on, I think, to point number 12. So I'd love to have like mentors. I think I've briefly touched on in part 1. I've talked about in the past, like how I'd love to have mentors and basically people who have run businesses like Richard Branson, Charles Schwab, Damon John, Barbara Corcoran, one for the women, for women and girls as well. Yeah, for young people especially, hopefully in the safest possible environment, of course, and that kind of thing. I talk about like safeguarding, as we call it here in the UK. I don't know if they use the same term overseas or whatever, like child protection or that kind of thing. But basically to have mentors and role models, I think like Mentor Mondays, and I think of number 12 as like motivation and things like that. I don't know why, but motivational Mondays and mentorship Mondays and that kind of thing. So mentors, I suppose mentors are like teachers, trainers, and that kind of thing. So they sort of tell people how to improve and whatnot. So please let me know if I've got the definition wrong. Maybe I should Google the definition of mentor. But people might see it wrong differently, but I suppose it's someone who's been there and done that, hopefully. Obviously, what's the point of having a mentor if they've not achieved much? I imagine someone saying, why would I listen to you talk about money, Mike, when you, Michael or Nick or Michael, whatever you're going to call me, Miggy, as my family sometimes call me, or whatever, or MKS, whatever you want to call me, Michael or whatever. But yeah, why would someone listen to me about money? Because I haven't made any. But for other people, like Richard Branson, I'm sure you'd want to listen to, but I was thinking like Virgin Money, and founded by Richard Branson, and I mentioned him because he's a fellow dyslexic, and also Charles Schwab, who's another fellow dyslexic, and so I'd love for Virgin Money and Schwab Corp to work together to, I mentioned in the description and also in the comments, I suppose I should pin that comment perhaps, but anyway, in part 1 and the description of this video, the comments in the last video where I talked about, like, I typed up about, and I don't know, funny punctuation or whatever, but typed up about how like Virgin Money and Schwab Corp could, one thing they could do is invest on our behalf. So take our money and invest, and hopefully that would give them more money to invest, which would benefit them as well, obviously, and take a cut of that or whatever. I mean, to be fair, they might invest it and make even more than they give away or whatever, but hopefully they'll still do it on behalf of neurodiverse people to benefit neurodiverse people more generally, not just themselves. But I talk about how we've got to trust each other and like build together, not try and backstab each other, but we've got to have each other's back. So I don't know how we can ensure that. Like I was thinking, like investment and things like how to avoid scams, and I've mentioned that before. But yeah, I guess we need to teach each other and learn from each other, and like look at a way where we can have like a trusted account and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'd love for like Virgin Money and Schwab Corp to invest on our behalf, like take our money and invest for us and help us to multiply, and then teach some of us how to manage our money, save our money, invest our money, manage, invest, save, and all those sorts of things, so we can budget and grow our money and that kind of thing. Yeah, so lots of stuff I want to talk about that, but I'm going to leave it at that for now because I don't want the video to be even longer, so I'm going to move on. It's already took longer than I planned, but anyway, number 13, I guess I failed at my initiative to this year at least, and in the past as well, of like dyslexic and I suppose other neurodiverse people making things for Halloween and also like Friday the 13th or whatever, but I hope to achieve that ASAP. It's like so many of my goals. As I say, better late than never, but I dream that neurodiverse people will make things for like Halloween, Friday the 13th and things like that. So like masks, costumes, movies, even scary music, maybe with scary lyrics. I've seen like videos of like scary music videos and things like that, even though I'm quite easily scared, but being spooked in a good way, I guess, kind of. There is such a thing. I was talking about horror movies today, actually, horrors and thrillers, and someone says they've never seen a horror movie which has actually scared them. They go, they're scared of things in real life, but when they see it in a movie, they've never seen a movie which makes them scared. So they said, when I mentioned about wanting to make a horror movie called Crocodilian, I probably didn't explain it very well. I just said it's a crocodile feature sort of film. Movie Mondays, but yeah, to make horrors and thrillers, but they said they've never seen a horror movie which has scared them. So I was like, no pressure then. But someone did say I should try and make it a bit funny as well. But yeah, to make masks, costumes, decorations, decks for short or whatever, and that kind of thing. So I hope to achieve that in the future. And I mentioned as well in part one, I say, about how we do have lots of strengths and positives, but we also do have struggles and negatives as well. And thinking about point number 13 and thinking of negatives, I hope people out there will enjoy my videos one day. I hope I improve and all that kind of thing. But I do struggle because I'm a creature of habit, certain numbers remind me of certain things and things like that, so I do repeat myself, so sorry about that, as per usual. But what else was I going to say? So I lost my train of thought. Also, from a selfish point of view, I know I always say this one, but neurodiverse people seeing what we contribute to Italian footy, soccer, calcio football, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about repeating myself, sorry. But yeah, teams like AC Monza, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma, Italian football generally, like how we could think about out of the box, like how Italian footy can improve on the pitch and even off the pitch, like financially. How could Serie A be better marketed? Could neurodiverse people help to fundraise for Serie A and that kind of thing, or even invest into, sponsor, and even donate to Serie A themselves. I suppose like it's a numbers game, there are probably lots of neurodiverse people who I can never win over and get to support Italian football, but I hope to encourage and convert as many of them as possible to do so. But yeah, my dream, as I say, so as per usual, I thought I'd put it out there. I mean, I have my doubts, but I hope that I can convince at least a few neurodiverse people and as many as possible to do so. I don't know why I brought neurodiverse or neurodivergent. Anyway, moving on, number 14, solving problems together. I suppose I'm trying to think of the theme of things that we with them because it's Monday. But moving on, number 15. So I'd love to see how we could be motivated to achieve our goals, and I hope to. I suppose I could have said in point number 11, thinking about change. I suppose one thing I'm going to talk about is like having walking groups. We also have like groups where we go to the gym and train together, and motivate and encourage each other that way as well. But achieving our goals, whether that's improving our diet, lifestyle, or whatever, or exercise, diet, and things like that, or whether it's our careers or whatever it might be, family life or whatever, understanding our conditions and getting other people to understand us hopefully as much as possible. Yeah, I wonder how we could be motivated to become the best version of ourselves. Excuse the corniness in that one, but I hope we can avoid getting involved in crimes, gangs, terrorism, militarism, and things like that. So hopefully we won't get involved in wars and violence or anything like that, and unused violence. as a last resort in self-defense and that kind of thing. Just like for my fellow mutts, my mixed race bros and sisters, to avoid conflict and that kind of thing, be as peaceful as possible. Easier said than done, of course, especially in this world nowadays. But yeah, I hope we can be as peaceful as possible. Well, neurodiverse people as well. Yeah, having a group that supports each other hopefully can increase our confidence and keep us out of trouble, and maybe raise awareness so our families and society may hopefully understand us a bit better English, a bit better. Number 16, I'd love for there to be groups which talk about what are the best ways to motivate us to become the best version of ourselves, i.e. to reach our full potential, I suppose is another way of saying it. I've often find that a bit corny when people say, like, become the best version of ourselves, but I'm using a term other people use, so yeah, so I'll use that one. Number 17, I hope we can use our imaginations, imagination Mondays to create things, whether that's games. I'm looking at some board games in the background, so I think like board games or video games, or all sorts of things really. I wonder what we can make and create, especially if we work together. As I before, like many hands make light work. But I think of like things that begin with M mainly for Monday, like motivation, movies, music, and things like that. But also because of my quirkiness, I thought imagination Mondays, like take the I away from the beginning. But anyway, so that instead of imagination, it'd be imagination Mondays, just to clarify. But yeah, moving on, number 18, as I say, I hope to raise a more positive view of neurodiverse people, like how we can be entrepreneurs, wealth creators, job creators, and people who can basically just benefit society generally for ourselves and others as well, and hopefully make the world a better place. And hopefully people will see that as well. And I hope to celebrate, as I say, success stories from history, what we've contributed to the world, and what we could contribute to the world if we work together. Number 19, I wonder if we could work together in AI, app development, and things like that as well. And number 20, supporting people of all different ages and the same as possible environment. And again, I'd love to work together in areas like, I love to build networks in business, movies, music, and all sorts of different industries and areas. So seeing what we could achieve when we collaborate together, like collaborating on music, and say lyrics, music videos, and all sorts of things like that, and also movies, scripts, ideas, and whatnot. And I am out. And peace and love.